been trying to get my weight up, staying prayed up, meditating and taking time away.
Hey, welcome to Palette Therapy. If this is your first time stopping by, my name is Keela. Welcome to the channel. If not, thank you for the support. In today's video, I will be giving you guys some college freshman advice that I wish somebody had gave me. So yeah, if you're interested in this video, please continue to watch. But first, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment down below. Now, let's get into this video. I'm here to give you the tea. Well, that's lemonade, but I'm here to give you the 411 on being a college freshman. Okay, fam, so y'all know this is real. I got my cell phone here. I got notes in my phone here that's how serious I am. Like, I got notes in my phone about the advice I wish somebody would have gave me when I was a college freshman. But first, we're gonna take these off. Enough looking cool, you know, whatever. So, I should do a new Q&A for my new subbies. But I am a college graduate. I graduated back in 2014. I have a bachelor's in psychology. I currently work in the mental health field. But, so, you know, I don't feel like college has changed too much. I know it has changed some. I do have siblings that are in college right now. I actually have a little sister that gets ready to graduate this year. But, so, you know, I've reached out to different people and I've, you know, asked them like, hey, what are some things you wish you would have known before, you know, going into college or being a freshman? And, of course, I have my own things that I want to add as well. So, here we go. First things first. College is not the same as high school. High school, you have a routine. You've been trained this way since you were a kid, basically. From Head Start to pre-K, kindergarten, you know, on up. You've been trained. You have a routine. You have a schedule. You know, you get up at 8 o'clock. Or not get up at 8 o'clock. You get up at 7 o'clock. You got to be at school at 8 o'clock. You're at school from 8 to whatever time. 8 to 2, 3, whatever. Then you go home. Repeat Monday through Friday. College, no. College, you have more freedom. So, my first piece of advice is about making your schedule. Don't go into it thinking like, well, I wake up at 8 o'clock for high school, or I did it in high school, I can do it now. No, that doesn't mean you can't, but be realistic with yourself as well. I remember my first 8 o'clock class. I probably made it to class, you know, maybe a handful of times because I just didn't wake up for it, or I just decided I wasn't gonna go. But I went into it thinking like I can handle 8 o'clock classes because I mean I had to be at school at 8 o'clock anyways. But no, which brings me to my second point. Freedom. Freedom is dangerous. Especially if you are, or you were, you lived in a strict household, or your parents kind of sheltered you, covered you, you know, you didn't have as much freedom as everybody else, which isn't a bad thing. My family was like that, you know, so it's not a bad thing. But when you get a little taste of it, don't go crazy. I went crazy, you know. I started partying because I had never been to a party before and I didn't have anybody to tell me I couldn't go. So yeah, I started partying and started missing class. So, you know, be careful with the freedom that, you know, you give yourself. Kind of still stick to some of those routines or habits that you've been conditioned to as a child going into a teenager, because it really does help you in the long run. Like, I know we think that our parents hate us when we're teenagers, you know, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out this house, I'm ready to leave, blah blah blah. But a lot of things that they are teaching us are things that we do eventually apply in life, and the sooner you learn those things or you keep those things in rotation, the more it helps you. So, you know, be careful with partying, you know, or hanging out with friends. Which brings me to my next step, or point of view, advice, whatever you want to call it. Friends. Friends are dangerous. Friends are dangerous. Not really. I mean, it's good to have friends. It's good to have natural supports. That's what we call it. You know, it's good to have a good support system. But be mindful, be careful of the friends that you have, because some people aren't necessarily good for you. They may be, you know, good to you at the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're good for you. Meaning, if you have somebody that's trying to talk you into skipping class, to go do something you don't need to be doing, or if you have somebody that's telling you don't worry about your homework, or you have somebody that is, you know, trying to get you to do other things outside of your studies, like put those things first, those aren't necessarily healthy people for you. Also, remember that you are in school to get an education. You are there for yourself. The people that you meet, yes, great. I have friends that I met in college in my freshman year, and we're actually, my nose is tickling, we're actually still friends. We still do trips together. We still, you know, hang out, talk every day, every other day, whatever. Those are my girls. I love them. But not everybody will have that same, you know, mindset or concept. And I promise you won't be friends with everybody you met your freshman year. Like, when you graduate, you won't be friends with them. At some point, you'll outgrow them. Learn to be okay with outgrowing certain things and certain people. For me, that was really hard, because it was hard for me to make friends. I wasn't necessarily confident in myself. I mean, if you ask people, I carry myself like I'm confident. But I did have some self-esteem issues going into college. And so I didn't necessarily, you know, give in to peer pressure or do things like that. But I was a people pleaser. I wanted to basically do what everybody else was doing, and I fell behind in my studies. I'm not ashamed to say, you know, I failed a couple classes my freshman year. I lost my scholarship. That's why I'm giving you guys advice, so y'all can learn from my mistakes and, you know, do better. But whenever something would go down with my friends, it would like really devastate me. Like, if we got into it or something like that, and I remember calling my mom, like crying, like this had happened with my friends, and it seemed like everybody hated me and all that. And my mom just gave me like simple advice, like, hey babe, remember, you're there for school. Like, it's good, you have friends, you meet friends, you know, but at the end of the day, you're there to get your education, and that's what you have to remember. And so going into my sophomore year, that is what I kept in mind. Like, at the end of the day, I'm here to get my degree, to further my education, to, you know, build a better life for myself. Not to get caught up in petty arguments, or, you know, this friend feel this way, this friend feel that way. You spend more time with this person, you spend more time with that person. But not also look at it just like that with friends. Look at that with like every relationship. When you meet guys, when you meet girls, like, you're there for a reason. Both of you guys are. So y'all should be pushing each other to do better, to, you know, get that education, to go to class, to study, to, you know, do all of these things, because that's what's important. And if somebody is pulling you away from that, you don't really necessarily need them in your life. Actually, I said necessarily, you don't need them in your life. Like, be okay with letting people go. You know, you're young, we're young, so it's gonna take time to figure that out. But as life goes on, you're gonna realize that everybody's not meant to stay, and you're gonna be okay with it. Learn to be okay with it. Learn to be okay with losing people, with losing friends, because that is a part of life. I kind of feel like I need to do a part 2 to this, because this is, I got the tea for y'all. But anyways, so next we have studying. I know, right? Who wants to study? But if you want to pass your classes, you gotta make time for studying, you know. And the reason why I emphasize studying, because your professors are not like your teachers. Don't go into it thinking that your professors are like your high school teachers. They are not. There are some classes you'll go in and you probably won't learn a thing. Just honestly, you won't be able to receive what your professor is telling you, meaning you won't be able to comprehend it or understand it. So what does that mean? You still have to pass that class. So you got to get in that book and you got to study. Sometimes you have to teach yourself. I can't tell you how many classes I took that I actually had to teach myself. For instance, one of the classes I took, I don't understand why I had to take it with a psych degree, but I had to take zoology. My professor, I did not understand anything he was saying in class, ever. I mean, every lecture I went to, I didn't understand anything. But I had to pass that class, so I had to buckle down, go through, read the book, and study for myself. Like, get an understanding for myself. Because your professors aren't going to be as lenient as your teachers. Everybody won't give you extra credit. Some people won't care. Some professors will tell you, you know, the effort you put in is what your grade will look like. Some, you know, they'll give you the extra mile or the extra credit because of the type of person you are. But you have to set aside time for studying. You know, just make it a part of your routine. The last thing you want to do is procrastinate. Like, we're all, 95% of us are procrastinating, myself included. And sometimes I do better under pressure. I've done really good under pressure, but that doesn't mean that's a healthy thing to do. Because what does it do? Have you all stressed and anxious and depressed, and then you'll stop going to class and you won't turn in your homework, and then you know, it's a trickle-down effect that we're trying to avoid. So make time for studying. Okay, and so the last thing that I'm going to talk about here is getting a job, saving money. So going into college, I didn't work my first 2 years. I started working my junior year in college. I believe that was a great idea that my mom gave me, because you want to get a feel for, you know, your new environment, especially if you're moving off. You know, if you're moving to a town that you don't know anything about, people you don't know anything about, you want to get a feel for your environment. Now, I understand we always need finances. You always need money, financial aid, Pell Grants, scholarships. Sometimes all of that isn't enough, and you still have your, you know, additional living that you have to do. So my advice with getting a job is to get something simple. Get a part-time job, you know, something where they know you're in school and they are understanding of your schedule and how things work. And so you still have time to focus on school, and you still have time to focus on work. You're not as stressed. Working a full-time job, being a full-time student, you know, if you have children, if you're trying to be in a relationship, you're trying to have a social life, it's exhausting. It is exhausting. So you have to do things in increments. My advice would be to, if you have to work, to just get like a little part-time job. Some schools have those, you know, student worker jobs. You know, some places will let you work 2 or 3 days out of the week, you know, just because you need the extra money. So I would say get a part-time job. If you're not in school yet and you are working, work on saving money. Work on, you know, saving, so that you are in a good place financially when you go to school, and you don't have to stress and worry about where your money come in, how your finances will be. You can just focus on school, because it is hard. You know, like I said, I started working at the beginning of my junior year, and it still was hard on me. I was still stressed being a full-time student, a full-time worker, still trying to balance the social life, trying to make good grades, trying to make time for family, trying to make time for friends, you know, trying to make time for myself. I mean, it was hard, it was exhausting. So that's something to think about, especially if you're considering working. So I'm thinking about doing a part 2 to this. Comment down below if you guys like these tips, and if y'all think I should do a part 2. If you want to know more about this, or even if you feel like this was helpful, you know, comment down below what you guys think. But I really do think I should, you know, dive more into it, because there really is a lot that you should know going into being a college freshman. I mean, there is a lot that they don't teach you. Or, well, they didn't teach me, and they didn't teach the other people that I talked to as well. So, I'm trying to be that voice, trying to help, trying to be a voice of reasoning, you know, because I wish I had somebody to be that with me. But if you guys enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Share it, because why? Sharing is caring. Comment down below and give me thumbs up, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Listen, if you don't drink the lemonade from Slim's Chicken, what are you doing with your life?